So this was interesting. I spoke earlier today on the Epstein documents and what's coming out and what kind of stuff might be redacted and things like that, and laws that are currently in place that might prevent certain stuff from coming out. But I also mentioned that it passed the House with one person voting no, and that person was Representative Clay Higgins from Louisiana. And obviously, puts the hairs up on our neck up. We sit there going, why did you vote no? But he's got a pretty interesting reason for voting no. And this is what he said. I have been a principled no on this bill from the beginning. What was wrong with the bill 3 months ago is still wrong today. It abandons 250 years of criminal justice procedure in America. As written, this bill reveals and injures thousands of innocent people, witnesses, people who provide alibis, family members, etc. If enacted in its current form, this type of broad reveal of criminal investigative files released to a rapid media will absolutely result in innocent people being hurt. And I have to say, I do not disagree. Think about what happened after January 6th. You had all these people who honestly weren't really. So you've got 5,000 people in D.C. that day at the Capitol building. Okay, I'm going to use round numbers. You've got, I think, 10 that committed actual crimes. Okay. But then you've got 4,990 people branded with this evil whatever just for being there. That's not something that I want to see happen here. Okay. In these documents, we're going to find out victims' names, relatives, the pilot, stewardess. We're going to find out the maintenance man, things like that. These are names. This is information that if we can prevent them from being dragged through the mud, why don't we? Now, obviously, with a pilot, the pilot's kind of a different example. You kind of get to the point where, we would assume certain things would happen on the planes. How does the pilot not know? Yeah, that's a much more nuanced conversation to have. But what I don't want to see happen is I don't want to see these names just handed out to this media, and especially this media that we have today, and they just pounce on everything because it's not about the truth. We already know this. It's not about the truth with media. Fox News doesn't care about the truth. MSNBC doesn't care about the truth. CNN doesn't care about the truth. None of these people care about the truth. What they care about is ratings. And if they can make millions of dollars by talking about who was there, by letting us know that these people were there, that this person might have been on the plane, that this person might have visited the island once, that this person might have had Jeffrey Epstein's phone number, things like that. There is so much nuance to this information that some of it doesn't need to be released. Now, obviously, you and I might have different opinions on where that line is, but I think Higgins is right here. He says, not by my vote. The Oversight Committee is conducting a thorough investigation that has already released well over 60,000 pages of documents from the Epstein case. That effort will continue in a manner that provides all due protections for innocent Americans. If the Senate amends the bill to properly address privacy of victims and other Americans who are named but not criminally implicated, then I will vote for that bill when it comes to the House. And that's the thing. I think what we all want, and sort of to a point what we all believe will end up happening, is that only those criminally implicated, that only those that knew, most likely knew, maybe should have known, will receive that information. But we don't need the information of the gardener of the West Virginia home. I'm making this up, by the way. We don't need that. That's not something that's important to this investigation. Okay. Now, if that gardener is currently implicated in something, then release that information. Let us see it. But what we don't want, and what I don't want, and what Representative Higgins here doesn't want, is for this information to become weaponized for it to become a tool of the right or the left media to attack people, to kind of ruin lives, because we know that they both can do that. Fox News does it just as, maybe not just as much MSNBC does, but they love to do it. They all love to do it because what it does is it creates ratings and it brings people in, which earns them money. At the end of the day, that's all they care about. So I understand Higgins's point. Obviously, this is one of those things where you're able to be principled because you know it's going to pass. It's sort of like we saw Massey several times where, Massey will be principled and vote no for things that are going to pass even with his no because he has the ability to do that. Rand Paul does the same thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're really standing up for anything, but I do think that there does need to be a role. And maybe the reason that it's not in the bill is because they assume that AG Bondi will use the Crime Victims' Rights Act and federal rules of criminal procedure, like I was talking about in the earlier video, to make sure that some of this information is redacted to prevent that kind of information from getting out. But in my opinion, I would rather it be safeguarded in the bill, like Representative Higgins says. But that's just me. What do y'all think? Y'all agree? Do you think that there is a line? Now, obviously, we'll probably have varying definitions on where that line should be drawn. But do you think there is a line on how much information should come out? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see y'all next time. Peace out.